I think the honeymoon period is over. We've had 6 months of playing around with ChatGPT and Midjourney. We now need to make some serious decisions. It's actually a utopia or dystopia decision. The good news is, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. We decide where we want to err on the side of. And I've identified, so far so good, I've been interacting with a lot of people online. Some of you might have seen my posts. There's at least 9 issues that we need to think about. And not all of them have a partner. In other words, I think 7 issues have both a utopia and a dystopia. And there are 2 issues which, far as I can tell, is only a dystopia. These issues are not equally probable. In other words, and they're not mutually exclusive. They can probably all go together in one go. But it's good to reflect upon this if we are to think about the future of AI in the Philippines. First, let's talk about jobs. The utopia is AI will generate jobs. And the dystopia is AI will eliminate jobs. Actually, if you look at the history of any technology, there will always be jobs that will be at risk. But so far so good, all technological innovations have created more jobs than destroyed. But we only see the jobs that are at risk. It's hard to foresee what new jobs are there. But that's our job, to be the industry board. AAP and DICT and TESDA, we need to work together. What are the new jobs that could be created? Let's talk about education. Everyone is worried that students will cheat school using ChatGPT. Guess what? They already are. Let's just take that as a given. The question is, how should ChatGPT be used to enhance the school experience? I was conducting a workshop at a major university about a week ago, and guess what? Professors and teachers are saddled with so much admin work that they can hardly keep up with the teaching load, and worse, they can hardly keep up with the research load. We need these people to research. So if you think of schools as having 2 jobs, knowledge production and labor production, both are at risk today. But AI could help. How do we do that? Remember, these models were trained on knowledge, more knowledge than you will ever be able to study in your life. But we're not using them to enhance our knowledge production capability. Okay, the creative question. On the one hand, unrestrained creativity. Like me, I'm not an artist, but I was able to generate a Gnolling image and a Terminator image just by writing a sentence. But then on the other side, our creatives are at risk because their intellectual property is now being sold for nothing. And that's now invaded the realm of music. It's not just art. It's not just graphics. It's also music. It's also literature. So is there a right approach that we can use to preserve the rights of our creators, but then open the door for new creators to come in? Because I will have to argue that AI art is actually, yes, it's still art. The question is how you generate art. And food for thought, back in the 1900s, photography was not considered art. If you read up, it was banned from being considered art for at least 100 years. And the argument was a machine that interprets light or accepts light is not equivalent to a painter with a brush. Ganon ka-snotty yung mga art circles nun. Ngayon, they include photography na rin. But they're just as snotty about art as ever. This one is a bit more complex. The utopia is we democratize the development of models. But the reality is these models cost a lot of money to develop, a lot of infrastructure. So by default, it's monopolized by Silicon Valley. Right now, that seems to be the default position. Is there a way we can work together in the Philippines or with ASEAN or other international groups to expand that capability? To my knowledge, the CEO of OpenAI is traveling around the world right now, arguing for regulation. What they're doing is arguing for monopolies. But that shouldn't stop us from innovating ourselves. We have the talent. We have the AI programs being developed. See, Doc Rex is on top of this in UP. There should be more AI programs. The main question is, who will make the investment in the infrastructure to empower it? So we're close to the end of the balanced issues. Convenience or digital divide? I think this is a bit more medyo woke issue, but In the same way, we are so blessed in the NCR lalo to have all of these digital tools. The moment you cross the boundary from NCR to Region 4A and beyond, internet connectivity drops, and guess what? AI use will drop as well. So instead of being more inclusive, we've actually reinforced the dominance of NCR by implementing AI. But should that be the case? It doesn't take a lot to teach how AI is being done. I know a guy who's teaching it in Bacolod right now. I don't know if he's here or is watching from Zoom. You just give anyone access to ChatGPT and they can do it. But they do need internet connectivity though. And they do need a method of gathering the knowledge, put it in the cloud. So let's argue for inclusivity rather than the digital divide. This is another complex one. You can actually use AI to enforce privacy. It's not by default just an invasion of privacy. You can use AI to anonymize customer records, medical records. In fact, the models being used to develop generative AI started out in encryption, and that's how they should be used. But right now, the concern is how AI is invading privacy. And the dystopia there is the more AI is used, the more biases will be reinforced, the more surveillance will be reinforced. So we have a decision to make. Do we use AI to protect us, or do we use AI to attack? And this is the most abstract one. That's why I didn't use the actual picture of Terminator, more of a caricature. This is the big, noisy bugbear at the back of the room, AI safety. But the counterpart of this is, if we're able to make AI systems safe, the productivity benefits are more than 10x. But we're too busy worrying about Terminator. I'm not saying Terminator won't happen. But when are we going to have a mature conversation about automation? Automation is not a new topic. AI-driven automation, even better. So we're done with 7 issues. I want to conclude with 2 issues, which so far I haven't found utopia for. One issue is disinformation. I can't find an alternative. Right now, there aren't enough tools that can detect fake news. AI fails in that respect. But you can use AI to create fake news. In fact, it has been done. So this is a problem that we need to address. And lastly, the climate question. People don't think about climate too much. But these GPUs suck a lot of power. They're also being used in crypto mining. If you add up all of the power consumption of Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's bigger than Iceland. And now we're going to add to that problem by using GPUs to develop AI. I don't see an alternative at the moment. Maybe a better chip. So that's where the hardware people need to come together and figure it out. I want to close with this slide. This is a 2022 State of Tech Talent Report. And I found it very striking because there are 2 axes. The vertical is how much talent do we have as a percentage of our population? And the x-axis is how much of our GDP comprises venture capital investment. And guess who's at the lower left-hand corner of that chart? Talagang, wow, that was so striking. In other words, we are the last place the world will look to for tech talent, and we are probably the last place VCs will look to for tech investment compared to the utopia of Singapore and Israel. But this is 2022, and this is before generative AI came out. So I'm challenging everyone here to prove to me that our position on that chart is wrong. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.